Hey guys, thanks for clicking on this video. Today we are looking at the Microsoft Corporation ticker symbol MSFT. Going to look at the fundamentals to give my fair valuation of the stock based on discounted free cash flow and the Buffett-Graham intrinsic value. Then we're going to be touching upon their more recent earnings, looking at an article from Seeking Alpha, and then finally going to look at some of the technicals. And you can see here we actually have some of the technicals outlined right now and some of the price moves we've seen. Last time I talked about the stock, it was trading in this range around about here, and then finally broke through that range. And I said, well, we're going to expect some bullish price momentum in the short term. And then there was a drop off, and here we are again. And the stock is currently at $324.75. So let's have a look at the fundamentals of Microsoft. Currently, it has a market cap of $2.445 trillion. Pays a 0.8% dividend, and the ex-dividend date is the 17th of November. So buy the stock before then if you want the dividend. And also, please give a like on the video. It really helps me out. Let's get into the steps. So number one, is the PE ratio less than the market? No, it's not. Microsoft currently has a PE ratio of 40 and the market average is 28.5. So that is a fail. And I think that's the only bad news we're going to see in terms of the fundamentals. Revenue is increasing 125 billion to 176 billion. So that is a pass. Then we want to look at the profit, 40 billion to almost 68 billion. So that is a massive pass once again. Are they buying back their shares? I'm going to say yes. And they are 7.7 to 7.5. So that is another pass there. Microsoft are buying back their shares. And of course, finally, is the free cash flow increasing, and the free cash flow has gone from 40 billion to just over 60. So that is, as you can see, four passes, profit, revenue, shares, and cash flow, and the fail is the PE ratio less than the market, and the free cash flow ratio, 2.5 trillion divided by 60 is about 40.74, which is very similar to the PE ratio, which is a little bit on the expensive side. This stock has been undervalued, according to myself, for quite some time, and now we are touching upon sort of high valuations, as you'll see as I go into the value. So I've got discounted free cash flow, where we're going to calculate the future free cash flows of Microsoft to give a terminal value and bring it back to today's value, and then give a calculated stock price. As you can see here, these are the calculated free cash flows, 62 billion, 70, 78, and 86, and that gives us a calculated stock price of $315.39, which means it's trading just a little bit overvalued, about 3%. So very, very close, and these are pretty conservative numbers. So let's just say if you think Microsoft's free cash flow is going to bump up again massively, let's just play around with the free cash flow rate to 69 billion. That would say it's 7% discount again, and that is sort of, it's been jumping up 12 billion, 14 billion, 14 billion. So let's even put it up a little bit higher there. Let's do 110% here, get to 72 billion. If that was the sort of figure you're looking over, it's still at a 12% discount, but the original value was $315. Next, we want to look at the Buffett-Graham intrinsic value. What does that give us? They have a fair value of $423.79 based on the earnings per share and expected growth, and a Graham price of $317.98, which is actually very good news because it's slightly overvalued according to the Graham price, but the Graham price is a buy and hold for years and years to come. So the Graham price basically says it's a buy if it dropped down a little bit, and obviously Microsoft has had a pretty good day, pretty good couple of days post earnings, because it's gone up quite a bit. So this was just taken 2 days ago, then this Graham price would have been a definite buy, but it's just slightly above that stock price, as you can see, minus 2%. So discounted free cash flow says it's about fairly valued if you go on the current estimates, but if the free cash flow numbers are a little bit more bullish, then it is definitely a buy. And same for the Buffett-Graham intrinsic value. So 2 buys on there despite the high stock price. One thing I just want to touch upon quickly was the earnings. Just to go on what I said, the earnings per share has been beat by 64 cents, $2.71. Revenue up 20% year over year, beats estimates by 1.3 billion. Shares have increased. They've got Intelligent Cloud is one of their areas. Product and business has increased, and more personal computing. So really the key thing here is this revenue has increased massively. And if we look at TipRanks, which has analyst ratings, they think it is a 10% upside, $360 a share, high side 407, low side 315. So on the low side again, that is about where the grain price is, interestingly enough. So let me just take away these lines that I was previously showing. Actually, we can just leave them on, and let's have a look at some moving averages. So if we just bring up the 200-day, the price is way above the 200-day and has been up until the start of 2019, and basically the pandemic. So the 200-day is not really too much to use because it's so massively above it. If we look at the 100-day, the 100-day has acted as a resistance point for the last year, and it's now broke above that massively. So if Microsoft hit about the 100-day, that would be definitely a buy signal because it's never really broke below that for elongated periods of time since the pandemic. And if we go before then, once again, I mean, that 100-day is held pretty consistently apart from that little blip in 2018. So that is absolutely massive. Coronavirus in 2018. And finally, the 50-day, well, you can see this was the bullish price move here. The price broke above the 50-day moving average. So that would have been a massive buy signal there, but it's difficult because we broke so high above it. The last time we broke this was a sustained run here in July, and it continued until it, well, basically dropped back down the 50-day moving average. So moving averages, difficult to say because of the massive price movement right now. Next, we're going to look at the MACD. And I've clicked on the financials rather than the indicators. MACD, there you go. And you can see that MACD is, look at that bullish movement. So if you were looking at Microsoft using this, you would have bought here and you would have made good money. Well, you would still be holding because it's still continuing. Next, you want to look at what other times it's done. So you would have seen that the MACD crossed over here and you would have held up until here. And then it was a buy signal again and a sell signal. So the MACD has been pretty good in terms of saying bullish stock, and the stock has tended to be on an upward trajectory for, I would say, probably, well, going on about a month before it dropped down. This was a bit of a longer period. So according to the MACD, I would say, yes, the price has some higher, can go higher definitely, but then we'll probably receive a bit of a pullback. And if you want to wait for that pullback, sort of the cycles have been about a month. You can see here, up for a month down, up in a month down. So we're only 20 days into this particular run. Oh, sorry, 15 days. So I would say wait a bit of time if you're looking using the MACD. And finally, RSI, is this in the overbought or oversold ranges? And let's have a look right now. If we go to the relative strength index, you can see it is in the overbought range. And when it's been in the overbought range, you can see it's rarely stayed in there for long, couple of days, and then drop down. So I would say if you're looking at RSI, hold off. Yes, there are some short-term gains to be had, but normally after it's been in here, we have seen consistent pullbacks basically for the last year. The only time it was in that before was the run up to the pandemic, and then obviously big massive pullback. So RSI is saying yes, you can buy now, but watch out for that pullback in the coming weeks. Right, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed my review of Microsoft. Give a comment down below what your thoughts are on Microsoft and what other stocks you want me to review. And give a like as well as always. It really helps me out. So I'll catch you guys next time.